morning all. Now in today's class, let us know about nature of teaching. Teaching means not only getting the mastery in that particular subject which we teach. There are some requirements which a teacher requires. So in that, the first one is teaching means giving information. So about the particular subject which the teacher is teaching. So in right way, in a reliable way. Now teaching means a cause to learn, making a students to learn. Means here teacher must act as an instrument in helping the child to do things by himself. For example, in a classroom, if 30 students are there, out of that 30, we may find above average, average, below average students also. Some students will be able to do the things by themselves only, but some students cannot do the things by themselves. So now making all the students to do the things by themselves causes to learn. Okay. Now teaching must be in such a way that student must adjust with the environmental life, either it may be physically or socially. One means he don't know how to behave. Sometimes his habits, his behavior will be fruitful. So in such a situations, no problem will create. But sometimes his behavior will be harmful to the environment in which he is living. Right? So we have to teach a student how to adjust with the environment in which he or she is living. Sometimes we must strengthen the child in such a way that he can face that environment. Sometimes we must give the advices to the student that if there are any possibilities to change the environment there, we must guide him to change such situations. Right? Now next, teaching means encouraging the student. Here we have to fire enthusiasm in him. What he want to do, what are his interests, etc. So we have to encourage him in all the ways. Right? Now teaching means guiding the student about right things in right way and doing them in right time. In such a way we have to guide the students. Now not only this, teaching means giving a training about emotions. How the immature child behaves. If he love anyone, he just continue loving him. If he hate anyone, he just continue that. So means he cannot control his emotions over happiness, over sadness, etc. in such a way. So teacher must help a student in controlling his emotions. Okay. And also teacher must teach the student in a loving, affectionate way. Okay. Not only he or she must help in controlling his emotions, making him emotionally stable. At the same time, the teacher's teaching must also be in a loving, affectionate manner. The student must be free to learn something, to express his views, to make know the teacher about his interest, etc. Now next, here, and the teaching must involve in such a way that it is the responsibility of a teacher to make him physically, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually to participate in the community life where he is living. Alright. Now next, teaching, it will be formal, informal. Formal teaching means whatever the teacher is teaching, the knowledge imparting on a student in a systematic manner, that comes under the formal teaching. Informal teaching means here the student will learn everything in the society from his parents, brothers, sisters, friends, etc. When this formal informal teaching balances only, a student can face any problem and can become a good citizen of nation. Now next, teaching is a skilled occupation. Just simply standing in front of the blackboard, just going on talking, what we note is not the teaching. So here teaching involves preparation, presentation, right? So we have to prepare a subject perfectly. We must have the mastery on that particular subject, and we must know what kind of teaching learning material we have to use to make effective our teaching effective. We must present whatever we know we are going to teach. We must present it in a right way so that student will show his interest towards our teaching. We have to create the interest in the student. We have to create the environment in which the student likes to learn the things. Solely teaching is a skilled occupation where we will try to create an environment in which a student likes and loves to learn. Right? Now next, teaching is a social service, we can say, because here we are the social servants. In our hands itself only the young youth of nation is there. So we are that particular agents, social servants, where we are preparing these young students into a good citizen of a nation. Now next, teaching is a communicative process. So the communication between the student and teacher must be in such a way that every time the teacher must welcome all the questions from the student, and the student must be in such a position that he can express his ideas, his creative mind, his interests, and he must be free to speak with the teacher. Alright. Now next, teaching is a bipolar process. Bipolar process means here one is the teacher, other is the student. The interaction between the teacher and student must be perfect. A free, lovable, affectionate interaction in which a student can open up. So that comes under bipolar process. Even teaching is a tripolar process. Tripolar means here teacher, student, as well as the content which we are teaching must also create an interest in the student. Now next, it is diagnostic as well as remedial. Diagnostic means as a teacher, first we must know about the strength and weakness of the student. After knowing his strengths, weaknesses in learning, then only we have to show the remedial solutions for that, so that he can overcome his weaknesses and he can strengthen his strengths more and more. Right? Now next, the functions of teaching. The functions of teaching is creating. The first function is every teacher must create the situations of learning. Okay. Next, we have to motivate the student to learn new things. Now we have to arrange that particular conditions which assist the growth of child's mind. Now next, we have to see the creative things present in the student. We have to encourage that creativity in the student, such as, for example, if student is good in drawing, we have to encourage him. In starting maybe he can't draw, But as he go on practicing, as he go on getting encouragement, he can become a perfect painter, or he can draw anything perfectly. He can become an artist. So knowing his abilities, interest, his creativitiness, we have to encourage that. Now next, so we have to inspire the students, and whatever the information we are giving to the students, we have to explain them in a correct manner. He must understand what we are explaining, what we want to say, what outcome we want from the student. This all information we have to give in a clear manner to the student. Now next step, we have to diagnose the problems of the students in learning and suggest the remedial ways to overcome that weaknesses. Now next, we have to evaluate, record and report a student's learning. So this is about a student. So at last, in conclusion, teacher means not only having the mastery in the subject. So teacher is that instrument or that agent which have to encourage the student, create a very peaceful, loving learning environment to each and every student. Okay, teacher must understand the abilities, interests of the students. Teacher must encourage the creative mind of students. Overall, every time teacher must work to bring a good outcomings from the student and strengthen him in such a way that he can become a good citizen of nation. Thank you.